The invitation, the message, came without warning. It was short. It was formal. And it carried the seal of the Galactic Council, the most powerful gathering of alien civilizations in known space. 2. Earth subject. Invitation to first contact Enigotions. The Council wanted humanity to join them, to speak as a new voice among the stars. To some, this was the highest honor. To others, it was a trap. For decades, Earth had grown quietly, sending ships deeper into the void. They had fought no wars with alien powers, made no open alliances, and kept to their own borders. To the Council, humans were an unknown. And unknowns made the galaxy nervous. The invitation came with strict rules. Arrive in a small diplomatic vessel, no weapons displayed, no military escorts. The Council wanted to show unity, but also control. In the dark command chamber of Earth's Defense Network, Admiral Tessa Vance read the message 3 times before speaking. They want us to come to them as guests, she said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Guests in their house, by their rules. Across the table, Captain Elias Rourke leaned forward. Or subjects, he said. The room went quiet. The truth was simple. Humanity didn't trust the Council. Too many stories told of smaller races joining, only to lose their freedom. Too many trade deals that looked like peace, but ended in exploitation. Rourke tapped the table, his voice steady. If we walk into their chamber weak, they will treat us as weak. If we walk in strong, they'll call it intimidation. One of the generals interrupted. Rourke smiled faintly. Good. Let them. Admiral Vance stood, making the decision final. We will accept their invitation, she said. But we will arrive on our terms. In the shipyards of Luna Prime, workers were ordered to prepare a vessel not meant for diplomacy, but for war. The Titanus. It was humanity's most guarded secret. A dreadnought larger than most alien stations, armored with black composite. Plates that bent light around them. Its weapons could tear through fleets. Its engines could outrun cruisers. And deep in its heart was a command core built for one purpose, to make sure humanity was never conquered. For weeks, technicians worked without rest. Every system was checked, polished, and armed. The Council had said no weapons displayed, but Earth had no intention of hiding. The Titanus would arrive in full view, its massive guns silent but ready. On the day of departure, the ship floated. Above the moon, like a dark mountain in space. Captain Rourke stood on the bridge, looking at the stars ahead. Course set for Council Prime, his navigator said. Rourke's jaw tightened. Engage. The Titanus moved forward slowly, then faster, until the stars blurred into streaks of light. It was a silent, steady glide into the unknown, but to those who saw it on their sensors, it was like watching a predator move through the dark. Far across the galaxy. In the shining spires of the Council chamber, alien ambassadors began to whisper. They're coming, said a voice in a cold-blooded hiss. Is it a fleet? Another asked. No, came the reply. One ship. That answer brought no comfort. As the Titanus drew closer, alien patrol fleets intercepted its path. They sent standard greetings, asking the humans to declare their identity. The reply was a single transmission from Captain Rourke. Earth accepts your invitation. When the alien ships scanned the Titanus, their computers failed to match its size and weapon capacity with any known design. Alarm codes spread from ship to ship. The escorts pulled back, unsure if they were greeting diplomats or facing the start of a war. In the Council chamber, the Speaker of the Assembly frowned as a hologram of the Titanus appeared. The black hole reflected almost no light, making it seem like a hole in space. Is this how they greet us? The Speaker muttered. One of the advisors leaned closer. They send a warship, not a peace envoy. This is a statement. The speaker's voice dropped to a whisper. Yes, and I think we all understand it. Back aboard the Titaness, Rourke looked at the slowly growing star of Council Prime ahead. Let them see us, he told his crew. Let them remember this shape in their sleep. The humans had accepted the invitation, but they were not coming to kneel. They were coming to be heard and to be feared. The Dreadnought appears, the Titaness, slipped out of hyperspace like a shadow cutting through light. No engine roar, no bright flash, just an endless wall of black. Metal suddenly there, blotting out the stars. Every alien sensor in the system went wild. Energy readings spiked. The ship's size overwhelmed targeting systems. Entire command crews stared at their screens in silence, trying to understand what they were looking at. It wasn't just big. It was unnatural. The Titaness was over 20 kilometers long, its hull coated with night-black armor that seemed to drink in starlight. Strange angular ridges ran across its surface like scars from some old war. Rows of weapon mounts, massive cannons, missile silos, beam projectors, sat silent but visible. It didn't move like other ships. Most alien warships drifted in space, adjusting slowly. The Titaness turned with precise, deadly grace, as if it had already chosen every move hours ago. From the bridge of the Council's orbital defense station, Commander Vethron's gills flared in alarm. That's not a ship, he muttered. That's a fortress. His second-in-command spoke in a low voice. Sir, are we to challenge it? Vethron hesitated. The Council's orders were clear. Intercept any vessel that came. Armed. But one look at the Titaness told him this was not a ship they could intercept. If it wanted to pass, it would. Inside the Titaness, Captain Rourke stood with his hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the tactical display. Council. Defense fleet ahead, his operations officer said. Rourke studied the screen. A swarm of smaller alien cruisers and frigates had formed a wall in the Titaness's path. They think they can block us, Rourke said quietly. Hold course, do not slow. The Dreadnought advanced at steady speed, each kilometer closing the distance like a tightening noose. The alien ships adjusted formation, but the crews were nervous. Their captains knew the truth. If the human warship decided to fire, their shields wouldn't hold for more than a few seconds. On several ships, weapons crews secretly powered down. No one wanted to be the one who fired first at a beast like this. Messages flooded in from the alien fleet. Identify your purpose. Identify your armament. Submit to inspection. The Titaness replied with only one line. Earth accepts your invitation. Proceeding to negotiations. The words were polite. The tone was not. On the Council's main world, the Arrival, feed played across massive public screens. Crowds of alien citizens gathered to watch. They had seen warships before, but none like this. The Titaness looked less like a vessel and more like a moving continent, its black hull swallowing light as it drifted closer to orbit. Some in the crowd whispered. Others were silent. Everyone felt the same thing, a deep, crawling unease. Back. In the council chamber, the speaker called an emergency session. This is unacceptable, one delegate hissed. We invited them to speak, not to bring a weapon of mass destruction to our gates. Perhaps, another said slowly, this is how they speak. No one laughed. The Titaness reached orbit. Without slowing, it rotated smoothly, positioning itself so that every one of its primary weapons pointed away from the planet, but toward the largest alien fleets in the area. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement. On the bridge, Rourke gave his crew the order to stand down battle stations, but not power down. They need to know we are ready, he said, even while we smile. A transport shuttle detached from the Dreadnoughts. Side, a small silver dart compared to the black mountain it left behind. It carried Rourke and his chosen delegates toward the surface. Where the Council waited Dot from orbit, the Titaness remained perfectly still, casting a shadow across the alien capital city. Dot, no one in the galaxy had ever seen a human warship before. Now they had, and none of them would ever forget it. The first words, the shuttle descended through the thin clouds, heading straight for the Council's Grand Hall. From above, the building looked like a spiral of glass and white stone, glittering in the sunlight. Inside, every alien delegate in the galaxy had taken their seat. The air in the chamber was heavy, not with heat, with fear. When Captain Elias Rourke stepped out of the shuttle, the murmurs began instantly. He wasn't wearing traditional diplomatic robes. He wore a dark naval uniform, its simple lines making him look sharper, taller, and far more dangerous. At his side, Admiral Tessavance walked like a blade made of flesh and bone, calm, ready, and unblinking. Behind them came two Marines in full combat armor. The Council's guards tensed, but no one dared move. The Speaker of the Assembly, a tall alien with crystalline skin, raised a hand for silence. "Representatives of Earth," the Speaker said, his voice echoing, "we welcome you to the Council." Rourke's eyes scanned the chamber. Rows upon rows of alien faces, scales, fur, feathers, metal masks, stared back at him. Some with curiosity, some with hostility, many with open distrust. "You sent for us," Rourke said, his voice steady. "Here we are." The words were simple. The tone was not. It carried the weight of someone who had crossed a galaxy and brought a monster. Warship with him just to make a point. One delegate, a narrow insectoid being with long limbs, clicked its mandibles sharply. "Your arrival was unexpected," it said. "The terms of our invitation were clear. You were to arrive unarmed." Rourke took a step forward. "We arrived as ourselves," he said. "And Earth is never unarmed." A ripple of noise moved through the chamber. Whispers, hisses, mutters. Some called it arrogance. Others recognized it as something else entirely. A refusal to bow. The Speaker tried again. "This meeting is meant for diplomacy, Captain, not intimidation." Rourke's gaze didn't waver. "Where I come from, diplomacy without strength is just begging with better manners." The room went quiet. The Council guards shifted uneasily, but no one interrupted. Admiral Vance stepped forward, placing a datapad on the central table. "This," she said, "is the full record of Earth's warning to the Council 2 years ago. You ignored it. Now your 9th Fleet is gone." The Speaker's crystalline face tightened. "We have not confirmed the fleet's fate." "You will," Vance replied coldly, "when you stop pretending it was a storm or an accident. Something out there is swallowing fleets whole. We told you this before. You didn't listen." One delegate, a bulky reptilian warlord, slammed a clawed fist on the table. "And you think arriving here with your Dreadnought makes you a savior?" "No," Rourke said. "It makes us survivors, and we're offering you the same chance." Those words cut through the tension like a blade. They were not a threat. They were a challenge. The Speaker leaned forward, voice low. "You speak of danger, but danger has always existed beyond our borders. Why should we believe you now?" Rourke didn't answer right away. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small device, pressing a button. A hologram filled the chamber, grainy, shaky footage from deep space. An alien cruiser, drifting and firing in all directions. Something moved in the darkness around. It too large, too fast to track. One by one, the cruiser's lights went out. Then nothing but empty space. "This," Rourke said quietly, "is all that's left of your 9th Fleet." Silence swallowed the room. Even the most skeptical delegates couldn't hide their unease. "This isn't coming for us," Rourke said, scanning the faces before him. "It's coming for everything. The speaker sat back, the weight of the moment settling over the chamber. The humans had not come to beg for a seat at the table. They had come to tell the galaxy a truth it did not want to hear. Back in orbit, the Titaness floated like a black mountain, unmoving, silent, but ever-present. Every delegate knew one thing. If the humans were right, that ship might be the only thing standing between them and whatever was out there in the dark. Shadows in the dark. The council chamber was quieter now. Too quiet. Even the loudest critics had stopped shouting. The hologram of the Ninth Fleet's final moments still hung in the minds of everyone present. But silence didn't mean unity. It meant fear. In the corner of the chamber, a small delegation whispered among themselves. They are manipulating us. One hissed. Humans come with a giant warship, show us a ghost story, and expect us to obey. Another delegate's eyes flicked toward Captain Rourke. Or maybe they're the only ones telling the truth. Far above, in orbit, the Titaness monitored every channel, every transmission. In the command center, Admiral Vance stood beside. The communications officer. "Patch me into their deep space networks," she ordered. Within minutes, alien data streams flooded the screens, distress signals, encrypted pings, and half-finished transmissions from fleets far beyond the councils. Borders. Most were the same. A sudden spike in energy readings. A cry for help. Then silence. In the council's private war room, the speaker sat with Rourke and a handful of trusted military leaders. "What exactly are we facing?" the speaker asked. Rourke's expression was grim. "We don't have a name for it. We call it the silence. Not because it's quiet, but because it leaves nothing behind to speak." The alien generals shifted uneasily. One of them, an insectoid with hard chitin plates, tapped a claw against the table. "And you fought it before?" "Yes," Rourke said. "And we survived. Barely." The speaker's eyes narrowed. "Then why warn us now? If it's as dangerous as you say, why not let it consume us and keep Earth safe?" Rourke leaned forward. "Because it won't stop with you. It will keep going until the galaxy is nothing but cold rock and empty space. And because we know something you don't," he paused, letting the silence stretch, "it's already here." Back on the Titaness, sensors screamed. A deep space probe at the edge of the system sent one final image before its signal was lost. Not a ship, not a fleet. A shadow. Something so vast it blotted out the stars behind it. The bridge crew froze as the readings scrolled in. No clear shape, no standard drive signature. Just movement, distance. Vance asked. 4 days at maximum sublight, the sensor officer said quietly. In the war room, Rourke's earpiece chimed. He listened for a few seconds, then looked at the council leaders. "It's not coming," he said. "It's already arriving." The speaker stood abruptly. "This session is over. We must convene the Defense Council immediately." Rourke rose to his feet, his voice cutting through the tension. "No Defense Council is going to save you in 4 days. We need to fight this together. My ship has weapons you've never seen. Your fleets have numbers. Combine them, and maybe we survive." "And if we refuse?" one general asked coldly. Rourke's eyes didn't blink. "And my ship will leave. And when it's over, we'll be the only thing left in this galaxy." Outside, the alien city carried on its day as if nothing had happened. Markets bustled, transports flew overhead, children played in wide plazas. None of them knew that a shadow bigger than any fleet in history was crawling toward them. But in the skies above, the Titaness hung over the planet like a dark omen, a promise that whatever came next, humanity would not meet it with words. The alliance that shouldn't exist. The Council had never agreed on anything this fast before. But fear was a powerful motivator. Within hours of Rourke's warning, messages went out to every fleet, every outpost, and every system within reach. Some leaders sent back agreements to join the defense. Others sent angry refusals, accusing the humans of spreading panic. Time was running out. In the Titanus war room, Admiral Vance studied a holographic map of the system. Dozens of ships were arriving in orbit, alien cruisers, heavy carriers, and small defense craft. Their formations were sloppy, their weapons mismatched, but it was still the largest gathering of ships in decades. Half of these captains hate each other, Vance said. Rourke nodded. Then they'll have to hate the thing coming at them. More. On the Council homeworld's main dock, chaos ruled. Crew members shouted over one another, moving supplies and loading weapons. Alien technicians climbed over hulls, installing human-designed upgrades at a frantic pace. Some ships had their old cannons replaced with railguns from Earth. Others were fitted with shield arrays copied from alien technology. It wasn't pretty. But it was a start. In the council chamber, the speaker addressed the uneasy crowd. "This is not the time for politics," he said. "This is the time for survival. Humanity has brought us evidence, and we will act on it. Our differences mean nothing if we all burn." From the back of the hall, a voice called out, "And if they're lying? If the shadow is just another human trick?" Rourke turned to face the speaker. "Then you'll have a lot of very expensive new guns for no reason. But if we're right, those guns might keep you alive." The first Joint Command meeting began aboard the Titanus. Alien admirals and human officers stood around the same table for the first time in history. The air was thick with distrust. Reptilian Commander leaned forward. "I still don't understand why we should follow a human battle plan." Rourke tapped the hologram, showing the massive shadow approaching. "Because we've fought it before. And because your fleet was just eaten alive." The commander's mouth closed. He didn't argue again. Vance outlined the plan. 3 defensive lines would be set up between the shadow and the council world. The first wave, fast ships with long-range weapons, would fire and retreat, drawing it in. The second wave, heavy cruisers, would hammer it with everything they had. The Titanus would hold the third line, acting as the final shield. And if it breaks through all 3 lines? One alien asked. "Then it reaches this planet," Vance said bluntly. "And everything ends." Over the next day, crews worked without rest. Humans and aliens learned to fight side by side, testing new weapon combinations. Misunderstandings turned into grudging respect. An alien engineer watched a human Marine reload a railgun and muttered, "Too slow." The Marine grinned. "Then, show me how to do it faster." By the end of the shift, they were laughing together, but there were still those who wanted no part of the alliance. A small group of warlords secretly contacted their fleets, planning to flee the system and leave the others to fight. What they didn't know, the Titanus was listening. And Rourke wasn't going to let anyone run. Night fell over the council. Capital, but the docks stayed lit. From the streets below, citizens looked up at the sky. Hundreds of ships were taking their positions, engines glowing like distant stars. And far, far away, beyond the reach of most scanners, the shadow moved. Closer. When the darkness arrives, the sensors lit up first. A ripple in space. A cold shiver across every frequency. Then the shadow appeared. It didn't glide into the system like a fleet. It poured in, like black smoke spilling into light. Its size was impossible to measure. It wasn't a ship in the way anyone understood. It was wrong. On the bridge of the Titanus, Admiral Vance's voice was calm but sharp. "All stations, battle alert. This is it." The first defense line moved forward, engines blazing. Fast ships darted in and out, firing long-range plasma bursts. The attacks hit, but there was no explosion. No damage. The shadow simply absorbed the fire like drops of water into sand. "First line, keep firing," Rourke ordered over the comms. But even as he spoke, the shadow reached for them. Not with missiles. Not with lasers. With tendrils of black energy that lashed out like living whips, not one ship vanished in a blink. No debris, no flash, just gone. The rest of the first line broke formation and ran. The second line was ready. Massive alien cruisers unleashed every weapon they had, heavy plasma cannons, railguns, torpedoes. This time, the shadow flinched. A piece of it broke away and dissolved into nothing. Cheers erupted on the alien command decks. But the celebration died instantly as the shadow struck back. 2 cruisers were cut in half by a single sweeping lash. Another was pulled into the darkness and never seen again. Second line is falling back. An officer shouted. Vance didn't hesitate. Bring us forward. All guns prepare to fire. The Titaness surged ahead, massive engines shaking the void. The Dreadnought's main rail cannons powered up, glowing with the energy of weapons built to crack planets. Fire! The first volley slammed into the shadow. The impact tore a chunk the size of a city from its mass. For the first time, the thing screamed. The sound wasn't heard through air. It was felt. Every crew member, alien and human, felt the vibration in their bones, like a deep, endless growl. Hit it again. Rourke barked. The Titaness fired a second volley. More of the shadow peeled away, fading into nothing. But it was still coming. Admiral, it's trying to surround us, the tactical officer shouted. On the screen, black waves curled inward, trying to cut off the Dreadnought's escape routes. Vance's eyes narrowed. Then we don't give it a chance. Full forward, we go. Through it. The Titaness roared into the darkness, guns blazing. Inside the shadow, lights flickered and hull plating groaned under pressure. Something clawed at the shields, something unseen but powerful. For a moment, the bridge lights died. Only the red emergency glow remained. Rourke's voice was steady. Hold the line. Keep firing. This is what we're here for. Outside, alien cruisers regrouped and followed the Titaness in. Together, the combined fleets hammered at the darkness from every angle, and slowly, painfully, it began to break apart. Admiral, the sensor officer said quietly, it's retreating. The shadow was pulling back, fragmenting into pieces that dissolved into the void. But no one on the bridge relaxed, because everyone knew it wasn't defeated. It was only leaving. For now, the aftermath and the promised silence filled the bridge of the Titaness. The shadow was gone, but space still felt heavy, like its presence had left a mark. The battle map showed the truth. Dozens of Allied ships were gone. Many that survived were crippled, drifting with fires burning through their decks. Rescue shuttles raced between wrecks, picking up survivors. Rourke stared at the screen. He'd fought wars before, but this was different. The thing they faced wasn't just another enemy fleet. It was something alive, ancient, and hungry. Admiral Vance spoke quietly. Send out the recovery order. Get everyone weakened back to the docks. Hours later, the surviving ships docked at the Council world. Crowds gathered to watch as wounded crew were carried off, some human, some alien. In that moment, no one cared about species, borders, or old grudges. Everyone had lost someone. In the main hangar, alien engineers shook hands with human Marines. They didn't speak the same language, but the look in their eyes said everything. We fought together. We lived. Memorial was held the next day. 1,000 names, human and alien, were read aloud. Holographic lights shimmered in the air, each one representing a ship that never came back. When it was over, the Council speaker stepped forward. This alliance was born from fear, he said, but fear will not be enough to hold it. We must make something stronger, something that will stand against the darkness when it comes again. All eyes turned to Rourke as he walked up to the podium. He looked at the crowd, leaders, soldiers, engineers, civilians, and spoke in a voice that carried through the hall. You've all seen it now. That thing isn't gone. It will return. And when it does, we can't be scattered, unprepared, or arguing over who's in charge. We need to be one force, one wall it can't break through. He paused, letting his words sink in. On behalf of Earth, I promise you this. The Black Armada will not stand alone. Any world that takes this fight seriously will have us at their side. Vance stepped up beside him. And if the Council hesitates? He asked, looking toward the alien leaders. Rourke's eyes hardened. Then Earth will still fight. But the next time, those who stayed behind won't be standing at all. The room was silent, not with fear, but with understanding. That night, in the Titanus war room, the surviving captains met one last time. Maps of the galaxy glowed on the table. Patrol. Routes were planned, joint training schedules arranged. Human engineers shared weapon designs with alien technicians. An unspoken truth hung over the room. The Shadow's retreat was just the start dot as the meeting ended. Vance looked out the viewport at the Council skies. Dozens of ships, human and alien, moved in tight formation, running joint drills. For the first time, they weren't strangers. Rourke joined him. They'll be ready next time, he said. Vance nodded. They'd better be. In the darkness beyond the stars, something stirred. The Shadow had not been destroyed. It drifted far from the Council world, gathering itself, learning from the fight. The next time it came, it would not underestimate humanity. And humanity, united, with new allies, would be waiting.